"We never touched a white man before," the Apache sisters confessed to the breeder. The sun had just begun to rise over the vast plains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The gentle wind whispered through the tall grass, carrying with it the fresh scent of earth and wildflowers. In a small, quiet village nestled near the edge of a forest, the Apache sisters, Ayana and Nayeli, woke to the sounds of birds singing and the distant calls of animals stirring from their slumber. The sisters, though young, had grown up learning the ways of their people. Their mother, a wise and patient woman, had taught them how to gather herbs, track animals, and understand the secrets of the land. Every day, life was full of lessons and small adventures that shaped who they were. Yana, the older of the two, was always curious about the world beyond their village. She loved listening to the elders as they shared stories of travels, battles, and friendships. Nayeli, on the other hand, was more cautious. She preferred the comfort of the familiar, the rhythm of the village life, and the steady presence of their family. Despite their differences, the sisters shared a strong bond, and together they felt brave enough to face almost anything. This particular morning was different. There was a sense of anticipation in the air. The village was preparing for the arrival of a group of traders from a distant land. These travelers were known to bring new tools, rare fabrics, and unusual foods. The elders spoke about them with a mix of curiosity and caution. For the sisters, this was exciting. They had heard about people who came from faraway places, and they wondered what stories and experiences these travelers would bring. Gianna and Nayeli spent the early hours helping their mother in the garden. They watered the plants and checked the vegetables that were growing in neat rows. The sisters chatted quietly, imagining what the travelers might look like and what they might carry with them. Gianna imagined colorful cloths and shiny beads, while Nayeli hoped there would be something useful for the village, like tools that could make their work easier. As the sun climbed higher, the sound of hoofbeats reached their ears. A small group of riders appeared on the horizon, moving steadily toward the village. The sisters stopped their work and watched with wide eyes. The riders wore different clothes than anyone in the village, and their horses were strong and fast. Gianna felt a flutter of excitement, while Nayeli's heart beat a little faster with both curiosity and nervousness. The village elders welcomed the travelers warmly, offering them food and water. Gianna and Nayeli stayed at the edge of the crowd, observing quietly. The travelers were polite and respectful, speaking in a language that was mostly unfamiliar but gentle to listen to. Even without understanding every word, the sisters could see that the travelers were friendly. They laughed softly, gestured with their hands, and seemed genuinely interested in the village and its people. Later, the elders invited the travelers to sit by the fire, where they shared stories of their journeys. Gianna and Nayeli inched closer, eager to hear. The travelers spoke of mountains that touched the clouds, rivers wider than the plains, and forests filled with animals the sisters had never seen. They described towns bustling with people, marketplaces full of colors and smells, and adventures that seemed almost magical. Gianna's imagination soared with every word, picturing herself walking through those distant lands. Nayeli, though quieter, felt a mix of wonder and cautious curiosity, thinking about how different life could be beyond the village. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, the travelers unpacked some of their goods. They showed fabrics that shimmered in the fading light, tools made of polished metal, and small trinkets that seemed to hold stories of their own. The sisters were fascinated. Ayana reached out to touch a piece of cloth, feeling its smooth texture and vibrant colors. Nayeli examined a small carved figure, noting the intricate details and imagining the hands that must have created it. The evening was filled with laughter and conversation. The village felt alive in a new way, as though the presence of these travelers had opened a window to a larger world. The sisters learned new songs, tried foods they had never tasted, and listened to tales of places far beyond the mountains. It was a night full of discovery, and both Ayana and Nayeli went to sleep with their minds buzzing with images of faraway lands, adventures waiting to be had, and the realization that the world was much bigger than they had ever imagined. That night, lying under the stars, Ayana whispered to Nayeli, "One day we will see these places ourselves." Nayeli smiled softly, holding her sister's hand. "Maybe," she said. "But for now, we have so much to learn here too." And with that, they drifted into a peaceful sleep, dreaming of journeys yet to come, hearts full of curiosity and hope. The first part of their journey, though still within the borders of their village, had already begun. The sisters had tasted the excitement of the unknown, seen the kindness of strangers, and realized that life had many surprises in store. From that day forward, they would carry the memory of this meeting, the stories shared around the fire, and the feeling that the world, though vast and sometimes uncertain, was full of opportunities for those brave enough to step forward. The morning after the travelers' arrival brought a fresh sense of excitement to the village. The sun rose gently, casting its warm light over the small huts and the surrounding fields. Birds chirped cheerfully, and the wind carried the scent of wildflowers and fresh earth. Yana and Nayeli woke early, eager to see what the day would bring. Memories of the previous evening's stories and adventures still lingered in their minds, making them feel as if the world had suddenly grown much larger and more full of possibilities. The sisters quickly helped their mother with the morning chores. They gathered fresh water from the nearby stream, swept the area around their home, and checked the small garden to see how the vegetables and herbs were growing. Though their tasks were simple, Ayana and Nayeli approached them with enthusiasm. Every small action felt important because they believed that caring for their home and family was part of preparing themselves for the larger world outside. As they finished their chores, the sisters noticed that some of the travelers were preparing to leave the village and continue their journey. This was their chance to see how people from faraway places lived and traveled. Yana, unable to hide her excitement, whispered to Nayeli, "Let's go with them. We can learn so much if we see the world through their eyes." Nayeli hesitated. She was nervous about leaving the safety of the village, but she also felt a pull of curiosity that was hard to resist. After a moment, she nodded, trusting her sister's adventurous spirit. The travelers noticed the sisters watching them and smiled warmly. One of them, an older man with kind eyes, approached and said a few words. Though the sisters could not understand everything he said, they sensed his friendliness. With gestures and simple words, he encouraged them to follow along and assured them that they would be safe. Their hearts raced with both excitement and nervousness, but Ayana and Nayeli felt ready for the adventure ahead. As the group set off, the sisters walked alongside the travelers, learning about the new tools, clothes, and supplies they carried. Each item seemed to tell a story. Yana marveled at the small, polished instruments, imagining the careful hands that had made them. Nayeli noticed the maps and sketches, fascinated by the ways people charted their journeys through the unknown. The sisters asked questions, and though their words were simple, the travelers took time to explain, using gestures, drawings, and gentle patience to make sure the girls understood. The path led them through meadows and forests, each step revealing wonders they had never seen before. Birds with bright feathers flitted through the trees, rabbits darted into the underbrush, and the sisters learned to identify tracks of deer, foxes, and other wild animals. Yana eagerly tried to mimic the travelers' way of observing the environment, pointing out small details that might have been overlooked. Nayeli, while more cautious, found herself enjoying the rhythm of the journey and the quiet beauty of the natural world around them. By midday, the group reached a clear, sparkling river. The travelers stopped to rest and prepare food. They showed the sisters how to make simple meals using fresh ingredients they carried with them and things gathered from the surroundings. Yana helped to fetch water and arrange the food, while Naeli learned how to start a small fire safely. Sitting together by the river, they shared stories and laughter, and for the first time, the sisters felt the sense of being part of something larger than their village life. As the day continued, the travelers taught the sisters small skills that were new and exciting. They learned how to tie knots, use a compass to find direction, and even read simple symbols on maps. Yana was eager to try everything, asking questions and experimenting with what she learned. Naeli, though slower to act, observed carefully and eventually joined in, realizing that each skill made her feel more confident and capable. The sisters began to see how knowledge and experience could open doors to understanding the world beyond their home. In the late afternoon, they reached a small hill that overlooked a vast valley. From this vantage point, the sisters could see forests stretching as far as the eye could reach, rivers winding through the land, and distant mountains whose peaks disappeared into the clouds. Ayana gasped at the view, her heart swelling with wonder. Naeli, standing beside her, felt a mix of awe and humility, realizing how vast and full of life the world truly was. The travelers smiled, noticing the sisters' reactions, and spoke quietly about how each journey brought new lessons and new ways of seeing. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in warm shades of orange and purple, the group set up camp for the night. The travelers demonstrated how to build small, safe shelters using available materials. The sisters helped eagerly, enjoying the sense of accomplishment in creating a comfortable space in the wilderness. That evening, sitting around a crackling fire, the travelers shared more stories, tales of mountains climbed, rivers crossed, and towns visited. Each story was filled with courage, kindness, and curiosity, teaching the sisters that adventure often required patience, respect, and understanding. Before going to sleep, Yana whispered to Naeli, "I never imagined the world could be this big and full of so many stories." Naeli smiled, feeling the warmth of the fire and the companionship of their sister. "And there is still so much to see," she replied softly. "We are just at the beginning." That night, lying under the stars with the sounds of the forest all around them, Ayana and Naeli reflected on the day's journey. They realized that learning from others, observing the world with open eyes, and stepping beyond the familiar could bring incredible experiences and knowledge. Though they missed the comfort of their village, they felt proud of themselves for being brave and curious. The journey had already begun to change them, not just in what they saw, but in how they thought, felt, and imagined possibilities for the future. By the time sleep overtook them, the sisters were dreaming of new landscapes, new friends, and the adventures yet to come. They had learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. And as they drifted into a peaceful rest, Ayana and Naeli held onto the hope that each new day would bring another opportunity to learn, explore, and grow. The second part of their journey had shown them that the world was full of surprises, and that the lessons learned on the path, patience, observation, and curiosity, were just as important as the sights and experiences themselves. With each step, they were becoming more confident, more aware, and more ready for the adventures that awaited them in the days ahead. The next morning, the sisters awoke to the soft light of dawn filtering through the trees. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the scent of dew and pine. Yana stretched, feeling the excitement of the previous day still buzzing inside her. Naeli rubbed her eyes, taking a moment to adjust to the new environment, but a smile quickly spread across her face. The forest around them seemed alive, full of movement and sound, the rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the gentle flow of a nearby stream. The travelers had already begun preparing breakfast. The smell of roasted grains and freshly gathered fruits filled the air. The sisters helped with small tasks, gathering firewood, washing utensils, and arranging food. Each act, though simple, made them feel useful and connected to the group. As they worked, the travelers spoke gently, explaining how to identify safe plants, how to manage resources, and how to respect the land they moved through. Iana listened intently, eager to soak in every lesson. Nayeli, while quieter, absorbed the knowledge carefully, understanding that each piece of wisdom would help them navigate the wider world. After breakfast, the group set off along a winding path that led deeper into the forest. Sunlight streamed through the canopy, creating patterns on the ground that seemed to dance as the group walked. The sisters noticed tiny details: the delicate wings of a butterfly, the intricate pattern of a leaf, and the soft tracks left by small animals. Gianna pointed excitedly to each discovery, asking the travelers questions. Nayeli observed in a quieter way, letting her curiosity guide her thoughts. Together, they were learning not just to move through the forest, but to truly see it. Around midday, they arrived at a wide river that sparkled under the sun. The travelers showed the sisters how to safely cross it, using stepping stones and sturdy branches. Yana's heart raced with each step, but she felt a sense of triumph when she made it across without slipping. Nayeli followed more cautiously, testing each stone and branch before placing her weight, but she too reached the other side with a proud smile. The river crossing taught them patience, careful observation, and trust in their own abilities. Once across the river, they found a small clearing perfect for resting. The travelers demonstrated how to prepare a simple lunch using edible plants, grains, and fruits they had carried. Yana eagerly tried each new food, enjoying the different textures and flavors. Nayeli, while hesitant at first, tasted slowly and discovered that some things were surprisingly delicious. As they ate, the travelers shared stories about the places they had seen: rolling hills, vast deserts, and mountains that touched the sky. The sisters listened with rapt attention, imagining themselves exploring those faraway lands. After lunch, the travelers introduced the sisters to new skills. They taught them how to tie different kinds of knots, how to build small shelters from natural materials, and how to find clean water using simple methods. Iana quickly picked up the techniques, practicing eagerly and asking questions whenever something was unclear. Nayeli, more methodical, took her time, carefully repeating each step until she felt confident. Both sisters realized that learning from others required patience, practice, and an open mind. As afternoon approached, the group began climbing a gentle slope that led to a hilltop overlooking a vast valley. The higher they climbed, the more breathtaking the view became. The sisters could see forests stretching endlessly, rivers twisting like silver ribbons, and distant mountains bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. Iana's eyes sparkled with wonder. "Look at all of this," she exclaimed, her voice full of awe. Nayeli, standing beside her, felt a deep sense of humility and amazement. She realized how small they were in the grand scale of the world, yet how capable they were of exploring it. From the hilltop, the travelers pointed out landmarks in the distance and explained how to navigate using natural signs, like the position of the sun and the flow of rivers. Gianna absorbed every detail, imagining herself exploring new lands with confidence and skill. Nayeli listened carefully, understanding that knowledge of the environment was just as important as courage when venturing into unknown places. The sisters felt a growing sense of connection to the land and to the lessons being shared by the travelers. As the day turned to evening, the group began setting up camp. The travelers showed the sisters how to arrange their shelters safely and how to prepare a fire for warmth and cooking. Gianna and Nayeli worked together, gathering materials and following the instructions with care. The sense of accomplishment in building a secure campsite gave them confidence and pride. Sitting by the fire later, they listened to more stories. The travelers spoke of challenges they had faced, how they solved problems, and the importance of helping one another. The sisters began to understand that journeys were not just about seeing new places. They were about growing, learning, and building trust. That night, as stars filled the sky, the sisters sat quietly beside the fire. The gentle crackle of flames and the distant sounds of the forest created a sense of peace and reflection. Gianna whispered to Naeli, "Every day we learn something new. I feel like we are becoming stronger and braver." Naeli nodded thoughtfully. "And we are learning to understand the world in a different way," she replied. "It is bigger than we thought, but we are ready to explore it." The sisters thought about the adventures they had already experienced, the river crossing, the hilltop view, the new skills, and the stories of distant lands. Each moment had taught them something valuable: courage, observation, patience, and curiosity. They realized that even small steps into the unknown could lead to great discoveries. As they drifted into sleep, they dreamed not only of faraway places, but also of how they could use the lessons they had learned in their own lives. During the night, Ayana dreamed of climbing tall mountains and discovering hidden valleys. Naeli dreamed of walking along rivers and observing the beauty of nature, noticing every small detail that others might overlook. The dreams reflected their personalities: Yana's bold curiosity and Naeli's careful attentiveness, both essential for the adventures that awaited them. By the time the sun rose again, the sisters felt renewed and determined. The experiences of the past 2 days had changed them in subtle but important ways. They understood that exploration required both courage and thoughtfulness. They had learned to trust themselves, to trust others, and to respect the land that sustained them. With each step forward, they grew more confident, more aware, and more ready for the challenges and wonders that lay ahead. The third part of their journey had shown them that true adventure was about more than travel. It was about growth, learning, and connection. Gianna and Naeli had discovered the joy of discovery, the value of patience, and the importance of understanding the world around them. They knew that their path was only beginning, and that each new day would bring opportunities to learn, explore, and become stronger, wiser, and more courageous. The morning sun rose gently over the campsite, casting a warm golden light across the forest and the rolling hills. Beyond, the sisters, Ayana and Naeli, woke early, their hearts still buzzing with the excitement of the previous day's journey. Each morning seemed to bring new lessons and new wonders, and the sisters felt eager to continue exploring. The gentle rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds reminded them that the world around them was alive, full of movement, sound, and endless possibilities. After a simple breakfast prepared by the travelers, the group packed their belongings and set off along a narrow forest path. The trees towered overhead, their leaves creating a delicate mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. The sisters walked carefully, observing every detail of their surroundings. Gianna pointed out the bright red berries growing along the path, while Naeli examined the intricate patterns of bark and moss on the trees. The travelers encouraged their curiosity, explaining which plants were safe to touch or eat, and which ones should be avoided. As they moved deeper into the forest, the sisters began to notice the signs of wildlife. Tracks of deer, foxes, and rabbits were scattered along the path, and the sisters eagerly tried to identify them with the help of the travelers. Iyana's eyes sparkled as she recognized a deer track, imagining the graceful creature moving quietly through the trees. Naeli, observing a fox track, felt a sense of wonder at how these animals lived in harmony with the forest. The travelers explained how paying attention to these details could help them understand and navigate the land, and the sisters listened carefully, realizing the importance of observation and patience. Around midday, the group reached a wide, open meadow. Wildflowers of every color stretched as far as the eye could see, and the air was filled with the buzzing of bees and the fluttering of butterflies. The travelers decided it was a good place to rest and practice new skills. Gianna eagerly joined in, learning how to weave small baskets from the flexible branches of shrubs. Nayeli, while slower at first, found joy in the careful, deliberate movements required to create something useful. Both sisters began to understand that learning new skills was not just about the final product. It was also about focus, patience, and the satisfaction of creating with their own hands. After practicing their skills, the travelers showed the sisters how to identify edible plants and how to use natural resources to prepare a simple meal. Gianna was fascinated by the different textures, colors, and smells, while Nayeli took careful notes in her mind, remembering the steps and the lessons for future use. Together, they learned that nature provided many gifts, but that respecting it and understanding it was essential to using those gifts wisely. In the afternoon, the group continued their journey and came upon a small hill overlooking a sparkling lake. The water glimmered in the sunlight, reflecting the sky and the surrounding trees like a perfect mirror. The travelers encouraged the sisters to pause and observe, teaching them to notice subtle details. The ripple of water as a fish moved beneath the surface, the way the wind bent the reeds along the shore, and the distant calls of birds circling above. Gianna leaned forward, fascinated by a fish jumping from the water, while Nayeli sketched the scene carefully in her mind, appreciating the quiet beauty of the lake. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, the group set up a campsite near the lake. The travelers taught the sisters how to build a small, safe fire and how to prepare their evening meal using the resources around them. Gianna eagerly helped with every step, enjoying the warmth of the fire and the sense of accomplishment in preparing a meal. Nayeli, while more cautious, found confidence in following the instructions carefully and contributing in her own way. Sitting by the fire, the sisters listened to stories of courage, friendship, and problem-solving. The travelers shared tales of times when they had faced challenges in unfamiliar lands and how they had overcome them through teamwork, patience, and creativity. That night, as the sky darkened and stars appeared, the sisters felt a sense of peace and wonder. The quiet lapping of the lake, the gentle crackle of the fire, and the soft whispers of the travelers created a magical atmosphere. Gianna whispered to Nayeli, "I feel like we are learning more than just skills. We are learning how to see the world, how to understand it, and how to be brave." Nayeli nodded thoughtfully. "And we are learning to trust ourselves and each other," she said. "That is just as important as any skill." As they lay under the stars, Ayana and Nayeli reflected on the journey so far. They had learned to observe the environment, understand the importance of patience, and appreciate the beauty and complexity of the natural world. They realized that adventure was not just about moving from one place to another. It was about growth, understanding, and connection. Each step they took, each lesson they learned, and each moment they shared with the travelers was helping them become stronger, wiser, and more confident. During the night, Ayana dreamed of exploring vast mountains, crossing rivers, and discovering hidden valleys filled with wildlife. She imagined herself using the skills she had learned to navigate and solve problems along the way. Nayeli dreamed of observing the details of nature, noticing every movement, sound, and pattern, and understanding the delicate balance of life in the wild. Their dreams reflected their personalities, Yana's adventurous spirit and Nayeli's thoughtful attentiveness, both essential qualities for the journey ahead. The next morning, the travelers encouraged the sisters to try new challenges. They guided them through navigating a short, rocky path along a hillside. Yana's heart raced with excitement as she carefully placed each step, feeling a growing sense of confidence in her balance and judgment. Nayeli, while more cautious, focused on each movement, understanding the importance of patience and careful observation. By the time they reached the top, both sisters felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. They realized that challenges were opportunities to learn and grow, and that facing them together made the experience even more rewarding. As they continued, the group came across a grove of ancient trees, their trunks wide and strong, their branches reaching high into the sky. The travelers explained the significance of the grove and how to respect the natural world while passing through it. Jana and Naeli moved carefully among the trees, noticing the patterns of the bark, the sounds of small animals in the underbrush, and the way sunlight filtered through the leaves. They understood that being part of the world meant observing it carefully, respecting it, and learning from it. By the time the sun began to set, the sisters had completed another day filled with learning, exploration, and reflection. They had practiced new skills, observed the beauty of nature, faced challenges, and learned the importance of patience, teamwork, and respect. Sitting by the fire that evening, they felt a deep sense of connection, to each other, to the travelers, and to the world around them. Jana whispered to Naeli, "Every day we are becoming stronger and more capable." Naeli smiled, holding her sister's hand. "And every day we are learning to understand the world in a new way," she replied. "I think we are ready for whatever comes next." That night, as they drifted into sleep under the vast, star-filled sky, the sisters dreamed of future adventures, new skills to learn, and the endless possibilities that awaited them. The fourth part of their journey had shown them that exploration was not just about moving through the world, but about growing as individuals, learning to trust themselves, and appreciating the beauty and complexity of life. With every step, they became more confident, more aware, and more ready for the next chapter of their journey. The fifth morning of their journey dawned bright and full of promise. Sunlight streamed through the trees, casting playful shadows on the forest floor. Jana and Naeli woke with a sense of purpose, their hearts filled with both excitement and reflection. They had traveled many days alongside the travelers, learning new skills, discovering the beauty of nature, and gaining confidence in themselves. Each step had taught them something valuable, and today felt like the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The travelers had already begun preparing breakfast, and the sisters quickly joined in. Jana helped gather firewood, arranging it carefully to build a strong, safe fire. Naeli organized the supplies and helped wash fruits and grains. The simple acts of helping, planning, and working together filled them with pride. The travelers spoke gently, offering guidance and encouragement, reminding the sisters that teamwork and patience were just as important as curiosity and courage. After breakfast, the group packed their belongings and set off toward a distant ridge that overlooked a wide, shimmering valley. The path was challenging, with uneven ground and winding trails, but the sisters moved steadily, remembering the lessons they had learned about observation, balance, and careful planning. Jana led the way with determination, while Naeli followed closely, noting every detail and making sure they moved safely. The journey tested their endurance and focus, but it also strengthened their confidence and trust in one another. Along the way, the travelers encouraged the sisters to observe the environment carefully. They pointed out tracks of animals, patterns in the trees, and signs of seasonal changes. Jana excitedly recognized tracks of deer and rabbits, recalling lessons from previous days. Naeli noticed subtle signs of a stream nearby and suggested a small detour to refill their water supply. The travelers praised their attentiveness, explaining how observation and problem-solving were essential skills for any adventurer. The sisters realized that learning to see and understand the world around them was as important as any physical skill. By midday, they reached a high plateau overlooking the valley below. The view was breathtaking. Rolling hills, dense forests, and winding rivers stretched as far as the eye could see. The sisters stood in awe, their hearts swelling with wonder. Jana pointed to a distant peak, imagining the adventures that awaited beyond it. Naeli, taking in the scene quietly, felt a deep sense of peace and connection to the land. The travelers spoke about the importance of appreciating the beauty of the world, while understanding that exploration required respect, patience, and careful planning. The group decided to rest and have lunch on the plateau. The travelers demonstrated how to prepare a simple meal using fresh ingredients they carried and edible plants found nearby. Jana eagerly helped, chopping, arranging, and preparing the food, while Naili focused on ensuring everything was done carefully and safely. As they ate, the travelers shared stories about their past journeys, how they had faced challenges, solved problems, and learned important lessons. The sisters listened attentively, inspired by the courage, kindness, and resilience displayed in each story. After lunch, the travelers introduced the sisters to a new skill, navigating using the sun, shadows, and natural landmarks. Jana practiced eagerly, trying to determine directions and distances, while Naili carefully observed and took notes in her mind, understanding the logic behind each technique. Together, they learned that exploration required both intuition and careful thinking, and that every journey was a combination of skill, observation, and respect for the environment. As afternoon turned into evening, the group began descending toward a gentle valley where a small, sparkling stream flowed. The sisters followed carefully, stepping over rocks and roots, using everything they had learned to maintain balance and awareness. Along the way, they discovered flowers, unusual plants, and small animals, pausing to observe and appreciate each detail. Iyana's curiosity led her to examine a bright cluster of flowers, while Naili sketched the scene mentally, noting their colors and arrangement. The travelers encouraged this curiosity, explaining that understanding the natural world deepened both knowledge and appreciation. Reaching the valley, the travelers helped the sisters set up a final campsite for the evening. Jana and Naili worked together to build a safe fire, arrange their shelter, and prepare a meal. The sense of accomplishment they felt was immense. They had navigated challenging terrain, learned many skills, and grown in confidence and understanding. Sitting by the fire, the travelers shared one last set of stories, reflecting on the importance of courage, curiosity, kindness, and respect in every adventure. That night, under a sky filled with stars, Iyana whispered to Naili, "I feel like we are ready for anything now. We have learned so much, and yet I feel like there is still so much more to see." Naili smiled softly, squeezing her sister's hand. "We have grown so much, and we know now that the world is full of opportunities if we are brave and thoughtful," she replied. "I feel ready too." As they lay down to sleep, the sisters reflected on the journey of the past 5 days. They thought about the lessons they had learned, how to observe and understand the natural world, how to work together, how to face challenges with patience and determination, and how to appreciate the beauty and complexity of life. Each experience had taught them more than just practical skills. It had taught them about themselves, their abilities, and the strength that comes from courage, curiosity, and teamwork. In their dreams, Iyana imagined climbing distant mountains, exploring rivers, and discovering hidden valleys filled with wildlife. Naili dreamed of observing the details of nature, learning from each movement and sound, and understanding the delicate balance of life in the wild. Their dreams reflected the growth they had experienced on their journey, blending adventure with mindfulness, curiosity with respect. The journey had changed them in profound ways. They had learned to trust themselves, to trust each other, and to see the world with both wonder and understanding. The travelers who had guided them with patience and kindness had shown that learning from others was a gift, and that every journey, no matter how long or short, offered lessons in courage, compassion, and connection. As dawn broke the next morning, the sisters packed their belongings for the last leg of their journey. They felt confident, capable, and ready to continue exploring the world, wherever it might lead. The lessons of the past days, the patience, observation, skills, and courage, were now a part of them, shaping who they were and who they could become. The fifth part of their journey marked the culmination of an incredible adventure. Gianna and Nayeli had grown stronger, wiser, and more confident. They had faced challenges, discovered the beauty of the natural world, learned valuable skills, and developed a deep understanding of teamwork, patience, and curiosity. Most importantly, they had discovered the joy of exploration, not just the act of moving through new lands, but the growth, learning, and connection that comes with every step. With hearts full of hope and minds filled with knowledge, Ayana and Nayeli looked to the horizon, knowing that this journey was only the beginning. They understood that life itself was an adventure, full of challenges to overcome, wonders to discover, and lessons to learn. And as they set off toward new horizons, hand in hand, they carried with them the courage, curiosity, and confidence that would guide them through every journey yet to come.